this team to get towards those later game points as well and match. There is still that kind of double AD carry. We've got the Vladimir in the top lane. We'll talk about that in a second because we've got to tell you what's on the line here. RNG and EDG have never versed each other in round one in playoffs before here in the LPL. It's always been a semi-final and finals, as we're about to hear from the crowd. Zatai! Hello, Zatai! Supporting his old team in Royal Never Give Up. And again, this is so odd to see RNG and EDG in the first round, but someone goes home. It's a single elimination, best of 5. With everything on the line here in spring, which team finally triumphs, EDG or RNG? We find out now.
So RNG in this early stages of the game will be looking to try and control, as we talked about with Xiaohu, Xiaolongbao, and even using Betty and Ming to a certain extent in this bottom lane. But once we do start to hit these late game team fights, you'll have to be relying on Longxing to provide that damage, whereas EDG should be able to match relatively well. Hope can do a good job to provide that damage with the bullet time. You've got Scout for these front-to-back team fights, so RNG have a much more difficult team composition to operate and want to see if they can get the ball rolling to set themselves up for success in this game.
We're kind of set up with our story though, right?
Yeah.
RNG Unchained can sometimes be a great thing, sometimes a bad team. As they walk over a ward, they're spotted out. They don't think they are though.
You've got a Braum who's great at these early invades, but it's 5v3.
Oh yeah, it's only round 1 of the playoffs. Let's just invade, go for the brawl game 1. All 5 members are here. RNG outnumbered, outmanned, and outgunned with Junja securing red.
One of the things that we talk about with RNG is how well they can use mana advantages and TP advantages. Audi burning this teleport to start things off may look towards RNG to try and punish that with Longxing joining the bottom lane or trying to make some funny business happen at this dragon.
Especially since Xiaolongbao has gone for the blue buff start here. He is a bit behind of Junja, who, as we said, got the red buff smite and is now working his way from Krugs all the way to the top side as well. So it'll be important to track junglers. If anyone's been missing EDG, Junja and Audi have played the majority of the split over Jinu and Jeje due to the quarantine situations. So this is the starting roster that we've seen the most.
And Junja has looked really good with Audi, and they usually focus that top side of the map. So this is like the pairing we usually look towards for Junja to try and gank early. Longxing, aware of this, is going to start spotting out Junja on his blue.
And you can see that Xiaohu as well through the mid lane has a bit of pressure onto Scout. So they're not going to push with it. Junja is going to be spotted on his blue buff though as he takes it away.
So now we'll be forced to try and wrap around. We'll still go for the Scuttle Crab. I'd love to see Audi try and push out a little bit, maybe a side scout, but it's not the easiest in both these matchups. So Junja should have to forfeit this Scuttle Crab when it comes up, but looks like he wants to get
this
mid
is
lane
a
before it
PTA
happens.
trundle. Scout's going to take the damage. Xiaohu's used Scout of the Week here. Exhaust is down. He has flash. Xiaohu going to now try flash over the wall, but it's matched. And in goes Junja, the rookie jungler. Just says howdy.
Amazing play from Junja there, holding onto the pillar for so long, so then when you are able to follow the flash, they still get the pillar in Xiaohu's face, and they get that first blood for his ear.
Such a big confidence play, really well coordinated, and that's what we've seen throughout the regular season of EDG, is Xiaolongbao going to be stopping the back here to give favoritism to Xiaohu.
Will also allow Xiaolongbao to know that, look, Scout is backing, so we can go for this crab. That's the one with the mark and the one that's most important to Xiaolongbao right now.
Okay, so first blood of Scout after everything's said and done. Junja goes up to the top side to get Scuttle, and is going to hold mid-wave as well, while Xiaolongbao is crossing towards the top side of the map.
Picking up this mid-wave, though, will give Junja the level advantage. So now when we start to look towards, okay, a kill going over, the farm going over to Junja, this is going to start to mix up how this early game we expected it to go. So I want to see Junja now continuing his success so far and seeing if he can get even more ganks towards that mid lane.
As you were talking about before, Dagda, how EDG play this early game, right? They are some of the best in the early game trades, where RNG really want to get the tempo rolling. As that's what Xiaohu's doing against this mid lane matchup in Scout, pushing him back against this turret.
It is not a fun time for Scout at all in this mid lane, but has had the help, as we talked about, from the Trundle, so making things at least a little bit easier, but it will be repeat ganks that Junja needs to do if he wants to try and even up this matchup. So we've got a pushing lane in the top that was going through for Longxing. We got Xiao who's pushing in bot, and I want to see now what Xiaolongbao is able to do on this top side of the map to try and secure a little bit more of a turnaround play for Orange.
Haven't been tracking his marks just yet, but for Xiaolongbao, he is level 4, heading towards bottom side.
He has got one. He picked it up off the Scuttle Crab just that's on your screen there. So now we're going to see, though, with Dragon spawning, this is usually where RNG try and put their pressure down when they've got a pushing mid lane. You can see Xiaolongbao comfortable to start moving in aggressively to get vision here, but doesn't have quite the support of Xiaohu he would have wanted right yet, so needs to take a step back.
You can see, though, even just looking back at that mid lane, it is Xiaohu with about a 10, almost 15 CS leaders. This keeps brewing with the constant shove here. And now Ming roaming as well with Xiaolongbao towards the mid lane.
Trying to give support to Xiaolongbao. That's what we named as the important part of RNG, is trying to keep the pressure plays that Xiaolongbao goes to in check. With Xiaohu, now Ming stepping up here to try and give a little bit of respite to Xiaohu in the mid lane. Annoying
man with a chair and a yellow piece of ice. Oh, actually, I just realized that's kind of disgusting. But Ming now going to be leaving the mid lane. And yeah, we're looking at Ornn plays in the top lane. That is the Hema plague used onto Audi, but that's just to clear the wave, add a bit of pressure, and keep Langxing okay in this lane.
So at the moment, though, Audi's just looking to wait until his teleport comes back up. That's why we're not seeing EDG trying to put priority on towards this early dragon.
But RNG putting priority onto the vision here. There's a Yuumi behind Junja as Xiaolongbao goes on in. The pillar very nicely placed. A shield will be acquired by Mako. They walk away. Still positioning aggressively. Xiaolongbao is going to check this one, but it's only for the poke from Mako.
And this is something we have to keep our eyes on as this game starts to go forward, is the Yuumi Trundle combo. It is disgusting because you've got all this extra healing that's coming through for Junjia, especially when he's able to steal away some of these stats. Yeah. This becomes such a potent duo to try and deal with.
You can see why EDG's jungle support duo wanted to get near that Scuttle Crab. A second mark now acquired by Xiaolongbao, so 2 before the 10-minute mark is decently well sped, I would say. I'm not sure if that's proper English, Dagda, but vision control.
Sometimes you just got to roll with it.
Yeah. Vision control, by the way, is held by EDG towards this bottom side. Brush with the control ward and towards Pixel Brush with Xiaolongbao has been hovering bot a lot.
Scout is doing a good job here, though, of one, getting the vision control down and also stealing away the Raptors on the top side of the map. So trying to slow down things a little bit, but pings galore.
Yes, getting spammed. Unleash power onto Junja, but not all orbs required as the pillars down. Xiaolongbao in a sticky position as well. Bottom roam first, and Xiao left on an island. Hope says thank you too.
Fantastic job from EDG to control Xiaohu in this game. With this pushing Syndra, Xiaohu should be able to do so much more in getting vision, working with Xiaolongbao, but these two ganks mid have now set Xiaohu so far behind that EDG will pick up the first dragon, and now Scout is being accelerated towards that late game spot.
All the eggs around the mid lane. We couldn't have set this up better, Dagda. Xiaohu and Scout have had so much pressure from Junja and Xiaolongbao alike. EDG win it out in the end with the bottom lane roaming up, and Dragon acquired first here in this playoff series.
Especially when we thought Xiaolongbao would be able to put a bit of pressure towards Xiaohu mid. We saw how well Xiaohu was doing in dictating what Scout was capable of doing in this lane. But
Chain Disruption is available. Betty's at half, but the door is in front of him as heal's going to be used for the movement speed. But Betty gets exhausted at the last moment. Now, that's a lot committed. Mako and Hope weren't level 6.
That's what I'm looking for here, is how quickly they can hit that level 6 point. It's going to be off this wave, so could potentially look to turn this around, though, with the flash, or not the flash, the heal burnt on Betty. Flash still available to get away from that, though.
They're actually backing away. I think not enough vision acquired as RNG going for the invade. All the Forge God going to be used here. Xiaolongbao does have the ulti, though, as he picks up the blue buff. Going to have to use it now, and right into the ultimate. Xiaolongbao is going to bring in his top lane Vladimir as well, but Langxing doesn't get anything done as Scout comes in as well. And now the Kindred's dead. The wall across as Langxing is looking for this Azir with Hema Plague already used, but Xiao is getting beaten with a club. Junja picks up his second kill, and Langxing is like, where did my team go? RNG are just getting outplayed.
EDG do a really good job when they have advantages towards the top side of the map of keeping these 3v3 skirmishes, ignoring the bottom lane completely. And when Junjia and Scout have already picked up a couple of kills for themselves, they're going to win out, especially with Langxing still trying to scale and hasn't even completed a first item yet. He hasn't bought at all.
But you can see without damage here, with Ming joining in, at least they stopped the Rift Trail, because everything is going really the opposite end here for RNG in the early game. Already a 1,500 gold lead for Edward game.
And look at the vision control RNG have on that top side. You'd assume that they're the ones that are going to be able to figure out how they want to approach these team fights, how they want to make the play, but they are getting caught out in spots that they shouldn't be. Xiaolongbao going way too over-aggressive, and even though he has Xiaohu here, you're pretty much in a 3 versus 2.5, because Langxing doesn't have items, doesn't provide enough damage right now. You can see, even though he's trying to chase onto Scout, Audi's able to just force him away.
Dude, you know what also sucks? That early game Trundle with PTA is just so abusive, right? He gets those 3 stacks so easily. and then he starts clubbing you down. As we see 2-0 and 2, he's got Cinderhole.
And there's a gorgeous pairing where you can set up that Trundle pillar for Audi to then smack down and stun. You've got so many ways so many pillars all over these team fights that it becomes nigh on impossible to move around the CC, and EDG pick up their success. The problem is though, because they moved Hope and Mako towards that mid lane, now you've got Betty who's able to get work done in this bottom lane turret. He's picked up the boots, so getting through this attack speed with the turret in the bottom lane is really strong.
But Rift Herald for the top lane, Azir, who's already getting fed and getting resources from Junjia. Does sound like an equal response.
And this is pretty much how EDG play their games. Is as soon as we hit this kind of mid-game point, Scout will go off to a side lane, keep these in check so that then they're able to get to that later stage. But also a lot of gold does get invested into them. And we're about to see it right now again, where they're going to look to take down this top lane turret with Hope and Mako moving.
Betty trying to race this one, but he's not going to be anywhere near with the Rift Herald, I believe, getting put down. Actually, we haven't heard the sound now. Looking for the final charge that just gets rid of all the bulwark bonuses. Mako and Hope roam up as well.
Betty's doing a good job, though, of answering the bottom side. So a lot of this gold has just gone straight into Betty, whereas it's shared across EDG. So now you've got a very strong Varus, but EDG want more.
And RNG are going to have to make a response here. You can see Xiaohu's still in the mid lane. Shalabao only now just rocking up. But can they find the inner turret off this push? Seems like the answer could be yes, as that's a Hema play used, but it's only onto the Yuumi. Lungxing tries to go in, but doesn't really get anywhere. Xiaohu now up here as well, and Betty does finally get the turret, and he's going to keep pushing.
He's just going to shove that bottom wave in, so then you're losing experience as EDG, but this tower slowly but surely being chipped down, but EDG have to back away. They've invested too much time up on this top side, and RNG will hold on to the tier 2.
Well played by EDG, but RNG's Betty. We're going to look at his gold in a second, I'm sure. You can see the gold, though, still 1k lead for EDG.
1 minute now until this next dragon, and this is where I want to see EDG set up correctly for this objective fight. Get onto the enemy side, put down some of these wards, and the problem that often comes from is that yes, Mako will stick down a lot of these wards, but oftentimes they've already invested into sweepers. Now, though, in this game, they've still got way more of these trinket wards that they can put down, so EDG should be able to get the vision that they need to find the front-to-back team fights that they want.
And look at the commitment from EDG. Everyone has a red ward in their inventory, right? If we're just talking about vision, the only person is Audi because he can't fit it in. That Ornn needs his items, right? And that's very fair enough. Also note the spell book, so if we get towards these fights, the chance for a double smite from EDG is there. As you were setting up towards the dragon, you can see everyone's reset, walking down there now with 10 seconds to go. And Scout, crucially, has picked up that Nash's tooth ready for the fight, while Betty, after all that pushing, picks up Blade of the Ruined King.
We do, as you said, Blade of the Ruined King on Betty. That's the one that I'm focused on, but 0-3 Xiaohu, not in the best of situations right now. EDG need to get into this river, though, so they can find the fights they want.
Really
Hope,
good
though.
pillar. Hope walks into position, baits out the Scout of the Week, and behind turret he left.
Unbreakable is down, though, so this is why you can see RNG backing off. They don't want to find themselves at the business end of that bullet time while there's no shield.
Betty used heal in that, by the way. That's not good. They're going to get poked out. Chains Corruption comes through it. Bit too far forward, Scout. Yes, I think you are. They're going to pay for it. As the making it rain portion from Hope works out, they push off RNG, but Scout just got caught out with his pants all the way down.
They forgot the front line for their back line.
They forgot the line.
You see the Trundle was over, trying to set up for this dragon, but with the damage that came out from that bullet time, it's EDG still able to pick up this objective. It's fortunate that Scout gave over the kill as part of that trade.
To Betty. He gave it over to Betty. Okay, two dragons. I get that's great. But he gave over the kill to Betty. And while we talk about Mr. Stable, RNG setting that up in game 1.
There's nobody here in this mid lane, though. Xiaohu pushing on the bottom side. They're not going to keep pushing. Thinking Hope might have been able to push in a little bit, try and get another plate before that dropped, but weren't sure when Betty would be back, and more important about getting home to spend that Essence Reaver gold instead.
Why hasn't a team picked you up, Dagda? You're so on point about vision, about where people should be, my friend. You're a coach in the making.
I mean, look, Lyric has been training me, okay? You know?
Oh, no. You're so modest. You're so humble. Humble has been Ming this game, I'll say, though, because he's humbly been following around this mid lane and looking for gaps in vision as well to kind of drop his own. As we saw that dragon go down, as we see the gold plating on our screen, you set it up well, Doug. The Betty is pretty big. And now, gold for RNG is actually pretty much even.
And especially when we look at Betty to try and provide a bit of that CC going out towards Junji in these team fights, the lockdown Trundle. If he's going to have a bunch of extra damage behind that Chains of Corruption and the W combo, that could be a lot, but There we go.
Even though Xiaohu's 0 and 3, a scat of the week is scat of the week, right? It's still a Syndra who's almost got the Luden's Echoes, so even though Xiaohu's behind, he's up in CS.
As these team fights start to go into the later stages though, and if EDG can set up for those front-to-back team fights, it's far more difficult for Xiaohu to find picks onto the carries for EDG. Scout and Hope will be playing pretty far back with the bullet time and using those soldiers as best they can.
But you know who I'll be looking towards in that late game fight? Lungxing. He picked up the Proto Belt before. He also has the Orb of Penetration. What is that orb? Oblivion Orb, yes. We always just see Morellonomicon, you know? We get sad about that.
EDG have set themselves up now for this Rift Herald fight. They've got the vision. Now they need to hold on to it though. Unfortunately, with Junja now backing, yes, he can pick up a few more wards, but the vision now with RNG pushing in can be cleared out, and now EDG have got to try and re-find control of this river.
You can see though, RNG are going a different direction towards the bottom side where their Vladimir is. Pathing down, getting deeper vision here. There's no Dragon for 250, but it's just to give Lungxing that shove in lane. Because note, he's got a bounty on his head. He's got 0 kills, but 144 CS. And we saw this from Top Esports 369 against an Ornn. How dangerous a Vladimir can become because he has a free lane.
That vision in the bottom side, though, was being traded for vision on EDG in the top side. Scout trying to push in towards this tier 2 that's already pretty low. Xiaohu needs to be careful. There's multiple members here.
Turret dangerously low. Going to be cleared out from the minion wave, but they just run up and take it anyway. So more gold here for EDG, and as you mentioned before, the setup now for the Rift Herald.
So RNG need to be careful, though, about fighting in these corridors. When you got a bullet time, you've got Scout who can use this Emperor's Divide to keep multiple members of RNG away, like the likes of Lungxing. This is where small jungle corridors will be friends of EDG. RNG need to try and fight more when it comes to River so they can spread out, not get caught by the bullet time, but also have their chains of corruption hit onto multiple people at these objective fights.
Highlight down the bottom of your screen, ladies and gentlemen. 100% kill participation here for Junja, who, again, over Jeje. EDG decided to start Junja and Audi. And they have been performing well for like the C-grade replacements of what the main roster was meant to be. Remember that Junja was in the ECS. That's the Challenger series of what the LMS was before, that no longer exists. So, Junja was considered like, he's probably a B-tier player. Comes into the LPL as a small champion pool, but it's effective.
And the same with Audi. I mean, Audi started on EDG in 2017 behind Mouse, and he didn't have the best of performances, and then he bounced around a bunch of whole different teams until coming back up onto EDG. So we're now seeing Audi actually start to flourish in these more beefier, tankier top lanes.
We'll see how they go this game. Junja, of course, back to him because he is finishing off the Rift Herald here with Scout towards the top lane, pushing in the free wave. So second Herald acquired this game for EDG.
So now you've got to be careful as RNG, because they're doing a good job here setting up for this Dragon, which is going to spawn in 50 seconds. But you can have EDG create this pressure using the Rift Herald mid, and then RNG will be caught between a rock and a hard place. How do we try and fight for this sole point Dragon, plus keep our mid lane standing?
40 seconds till that comes up. EDG so far have had full control over all objectives this game, bar one turret in the bottom lane.
Again, though, late to the party. RNG have already set up. They foregone that Rift Herald to get this vision. So I want to see RNG try and use this now to find the picks that they want before team fights start off, and maybe give Lungxing a back route into these fights with the teleport.
Just walking in now with a Yuumi attached. Xiaolong Bao, we haven't been tracking much, but only 3 marks, so it doesn't have that range advantage. And the Herald's going to be dropped mid. EDG with 5, and that's the distraction tactic.
And now EDG can move in safely to River, get the vision control that they need. And as RNG, they've now got to try and fight through the likes of the Ornn, Junja on this Trundle, and it becomes very difficult to do so.
That's 3K now. RNG moving in, teleport behind. That's going to be the Vladimir. Watch him as Dragon goes down to EDG. Junja flashes out on the side. Lungxing in a great position. All he has to do is flash forward, but Scout of the Week is going to hit the Ornn with Chains of Corruption following suit. You can see Audi forgoes his life, but Lungxing comes in for the flank. Hope is stuck on with a Vladimir here. Into the brush they go, but EDG are getting choked out. Hope wants to get into the ulti, but he can't. Scout sends them backwards, and Royal never give up. Have given that triple kill over to the Fed Faras, and they know that EDG have nowhere to run. That was a big win for the red side. EDG
didn't want to commit the Call of the Forge God until the Unbreakable was down, but Audi waited so long. that you had the TP complete from
And they're
Longqing.
gonna
They're
dive
not
this as
done
well.
though.
Ming is flashing forward. Confidence play onto Junjo with the Yuumi. He gets slowed on down. Scatter the weak. Yuumi hops up as well. And now Mako will die as well. Everybody bleeds. And Royal never give up. Make them pay.
And RNG find the perfect flank. They get down the carries of EDG. Now though, they haven't been able to pick up an objective. A lot of gold has gone over. I'm not sure why EDG didn't try and commit something here. Look, Ming, Unbreakable is down. This is where Audi can turn with the Call of the Forge God, force RNG back, and they can turn onto Longqing, but not wanting to commit that ultimate means that Hope can't set up for the bullet time. Scout is constantly on the back foot trying to avoid the rest of the poke and damage and CC that RNG can provide, and Longqing sets up beautifully for RNG.
And we said this is the Royals Unchained. Sometimes it can be horrible. It can be absolutely stupid. This time, absolutely gorgeous. As we look at the comparison between top laners here in this first game.
That graphic is gorgeous.
I really like
that
it.
is really nice.
We saw it yesterday. It's the item timings here, so you can see the minutes up with the bar. And you can see that already. He's an item ahead of Audi, who only finished his Majora's Mask, 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, the Abyssal Mask was done a little while ago, but we're also looking at the Morellonomicon complete on Longqing. I really like this because you've got Junji who's going to be sealing away a bunch of health and regen and armor and everything. The Morellonomicon can stop some of that added health coming through.
Okay.
And don't forget the Yuumi as well. Yuumi provides a disgusting amount of heals in these team fights, and if you can try and just negate about 40 to 60% of that, you're in great shape.
We mentioned at the start of this game, a couple of minutes ago actually, where a Vladimir against an Ornn and what can happen with the Vladimir being enabled and just having a free time in farm. No one's really challenged him this game. Longqing has had a quiet time absorbing all that gold and CS. He's almost at 200 CS himself, by the way. Nothing's going to happen down here in this bottom lane, but Longqing after that fight, he got a couple of assists. You saw the 2 items now. You're expecting this Vladimir to be a big key difference maker.
Well, this is why RNG have Xiaohu in this bottom side, and they're using the teleport advantage that they have to try and push in the bottom lane, knowing that Audi can't try and come and contest because he doesn't have his own teleport up and available. So RNG grouping as a 4-man unit and keeping EDG at bay.
Tempo snowball, Dagger, you called it out earlier on. That's what RNG like to do. They've found their tempo, they've found their snowball, and they're really playing through it. A second turret going down. Chains of Corruption was actually just bad, but that's okay. It zones them away.
And the beauty of this is that we're starting to see why Betty is so good on this team. 4-0-2, playing through that bottom side, picked up a whole bunch of turret plates for himself, and has been using that to fight EDG every opportunity that he gets. The Gwynsu's Rage Blade now completed. This Varus is starting to become a serious thorn in the side of the likes of Audi and Junjia. This is where Varus shines, taking down these big tanks.
And we're at a mid-game where EDG no longer hold control. It was EDG keeping up with gold, in fact had a partial lead. Now RNG are 4,000 gold up at 22 minutes in this game. And you mentioned Betty before. Betty is the stable rock that hasn't been getting credit because he's standing in for Uzi. But Betty himself has been a top tier 80 carry.
So now RNG have set themselves up. They can push through the rest of these team fights. Even though you've got these 3 dragons already in EDG, if RNG can now set up for this dragon, again get Longqing with access towards the backline, they can turn this fight completely in their favor and then start to pick up some dragons of their own, turn towards the likes of Baron, but it does rely on them having access to Scout and Hope.
Gotta remember that the Proto Belt there enables for Longqing. You talk about summoners coming up with Longqing's flash there, Xiaohu as well, just to keep note. RNG right now positioning for a bit of a snipe as Shallenbao now has that extra range advantage to the marks. And RNG grouping mid yet again. EDG are matching for the next 25 seconds.
Again, look at RNG's wards though. They are littered across the map and EDG have 0 in this river. They've got to fight entirely blind into both of these river corridors.
And I talked about this the other day where RNG's ward clearance is actually insane at the moment. They're over 50% as Betty says, let's flash forward under Scout. He's dead. Wow. Decision making, 10 out of 10.
And the execution, 10 out of 10. They get rid of Scout, one of the big carries for this team. We said they wanted access. Well, Scout gave it to them there. Now RNG can pick up this dragon uncontested and then move all that control of the map they have towards the top side.
Mr. Faithful and Betty with his Agent 007 behind him. What a first game to start off this series. And people coming into this, me included, didn't have faith that RNG would be good on the day. They are looking much better here. moving into the later portions of this game, now picking up their first Inferno.
This is what we said though. RNG on a good day look unstoppable, but it's the inconsistency in their play that has made people doubt RNG. A lot of people are looking at EDG, who have been the old reliable. You know what you're going to get. You know this team can perform. But on the day, in playoffs, RNG can always show up.
So you tell me RNG is not a green light, they're not a red light. They are a...
Shut up.
Fantastic. Well, in this game, take stock of where it is right now. 5k gold lead just about for RNG, bar a few. More closer to 4 right now, but everyone from EDG farming up towards the Baron side, which is spawned, but EDG hold control of vision.
That pick mid gave Betty his Ruin's Hurricane, though. And when you're talking about Audi and Junjia at the forefront of these team fights, having the Ruin's Hurricane to split your damage, set up a bunch of these Blade of the Rune King procs is amazing for Betty. So now we've got to look at how do EDG try and snipe off Betty when he's playing in the back line, and how do you try and get him when you've got the Braum there to keep him safe, and the ultimate from Xiaolong Bao.
Before he kills you, right? Because he's got a Zeke's convergence from his Braum support in Ming. And Ming supporting his U80 carry, he's going to make sure he kills you before you start.
And more than likely, Knight's Vow under the way as well with that Kindle Gem. So that would be generating even more damage going towards Ming and away from Betty. Now though, EDG looking at this Baron, they want to try and set up here, and if again you are RNG moving through these tight jungle corridors, it becomes a lot more difficult for Betty to actually get the damage off, because he'll be kept at bay with the likes of the final chapter from Mako and the bullet time from home.
I am looking forward to these fights on that note. If you talk about the setup here, the fights from EDG in the late games have been exceptional, right? It has sometimes been the mid game that's been under question, but we get towards the late game, the front to back style is what's made them successful. As RNG say, no, we're going to do Baron, they were backing on a ward.
Tempo advantage. This is how RNG make their plays. Teleport coming in though, they need to burn this fast.
Audi is waiting, Call the Forge God is there. Ming does have the Unbreakable though, his Scout's moving in as well, but is it gone? Yes, it is. Flash, no! The Orn steals it with Smite! Audi the hero, as down goes the Lambs with Spite. Xiaolong survives the now, but Scout with the wall in the pit. EDG clump on in, as Betty is hitting hard again, but they can't do enough. Audi is the best Orn in the LPL, as far as I'm considered. EDG say it's not done. We want Xiaohu as well. He'll flash away, and just like that, EDG are back in the game.
And Asterix is the prophet once again. He does it with predictions, and in this game he said, watch the unsealed spellbook. Keep your eyes for that smite, and that is what changes that game around. And with RNG all clumped up in the pit, that's when Scout can make his plays. Audi can get the massive knock-up, and Hope with the bullet time will change the outcome potentially of this game.
Shame we're sponsored by Mercedes, because Audi is showing up here on the day here for the top lane of EDG. Turret's going to go down, Baron in hand. Gold now even again. And we were expecting potential 3-1-3-0. I don't know, this feels pretty good as we watch this one again.
And this is where, grouped up in the pit like this, EDG can EDG can find their front-to-back team fight. There's no flanks that can come in. There's no disengage that can really work against the multiple angles EDG have. And even though Longxing does use the teleport to get into the backline, it's too little too late. The damage is done, and EDG have gotten it all.
You could see how close Betty was to kiting his way back, but stuck in the pit with no hope there in the end, and Betty goes down. Hope with a great ulti as well. Molten Edge 4-1-1. It has been about these mid laners for an early time, but now about the 80 carries, and Audi at the top lane.
And EDG have this Baron buff for another minute and 15. They can push out these waves. I mean, look at the top that's already heavily pushing in their favor. They can shove in mid super effectively as well, and then fall back towards the dragon. It makes it so difficult for RNG to try and control this objective unless they try and fight them with the Baron buff.
Oh, a good pillar there. Xiaolong Bao going to hop on over. You can see the dangers of getting caught out with Junjia and Xiaohu on a ward. They're going to look for the Call the Forge God. It finds a knock up here, and the book comes out again. Hope picks up that kill, and Xiaohu is not having a good start.
Xiaohu 1-4 on the Syndra has been bullied throughout the game by EDG. Spotted in that corridor, EDG will take them. And now RNG have to try and fight for an Inferno Soul as a 4 versus 5.
The benefit of picking up all those dragons earlier now coming to bite RNG. As with a 4 versus 5 for 20 seconds, Longxing getting poked out as well.
And now it becomes so difficult, if EDG pick this up, for RNG to try and fight them. So much poke can come through with the likes of this Azir, but they're going to try and take the 4 versus 5 fight.
Look towards Betty. It's about as far as AD carry. Audi jumps on in. Longxing joining the play as well. Slowed on down as they get the Infernal Soul. The bullet time comes on out as Ming goes golden. Shallenbell finds Audi in the end. And RNG are going to be backing away. But now, without that Infernal Soul, EDG are pretty damn happy.
Shallenbell moving to try and make a steal, but it's gone before he can get in there. EDG, who have been on the back foot for this whole game, once again want to put a stamp on that statistic. 40% win rate from behind, and they're doing it again, Hysterics.
At least on the back for a partial amount of this game, which EDG lost control. And now right back on in it. Infernal Soul onto a Misfortune. You guys play solo queue out there. You know what this means. You get hit once, you're probably half health no matter who you are at this point. So danger strikes here against Royal Never Give Up as Elder's up in 5, Baron up in 2-minute 20. And all the cards in favor of Edward Gaming. As the turret's going to go down in the bottom side of the map, Scout's still picking up some solo gold to make himself ever so relevant.
We always say, look, Scout wants to be off in these side lanes. He's the one who usually picks up the farm, and they're setting him up here as the late game carry. Has been set back a step as he is on 1, 4, and 5, but now with the Banshee's Veil completed, he'll be able to avoid some of this poke that's coming through from Syndra, the poke that's coming through from Varus as well. And now working towards his next item, he'll be getting big just a little bit slower than expected.
But we have to wait for this next fight, because in front of the objectives, that's where it all counts. We look towards Longxing, who now has a Rabadon's Death Cap third. We've got Xiaohu, who's got a needlessly large rod, turning into who knows at this point. We're not going to see a Spellbinder, so could be the Rabadon's on the way as well. 4 items now with the GA for Betty, and we call Betty Mr. Consistent and have been consistently ourselves for this very first game. Look towards this AD carry finally to see if RNG can fight back against the Infernal Soul EDG.
The GA on Betty will mean at least that he can come up a second time in these fights, but I'm a bit worried that's not going to offer a huge amount, because realistically, if you're going down as Betty, you're already dead with the rest of the team. So I'm not sure if this is the best of pickups here, but I might have preferred the likes of potentially a Wit's End or something here to try and at least forego some of the damage Scout can put out and allow Betty to play a bit more aggressive.
But you can see all the damage sources of RNG are amping up. 45 seconds until Baron EDG hold control around this topside river where the big purple worm is about to spawn. While Longxing with teleport, absorbing levels, experience rather, to get levels. He's level 16, so Hemoplague is at 3. And Longxing is going to be huge too. Like, absolutely massive. We're getting the Vladimir game out of the top laner. That has constantly been, I guess degraded is a great way, because of how little attention he gets.
But this is the thing. We need to see Longxing now step up. He needs to find the flanks. He needs to find access to the back line. And down in this bottom lane, he's not really going to be able to do it because EDG have done a good job of setting up wards around this pit. Pink wards galore will stop RNG from having that deep vision to allow access for this Vladimir to the backline of EDG.
Remember as well that Longxing can't interrupt the teleport from Audi, but Audi can interrupt the Vladimir's TP, which is important.
I think, though, for Audi, you need to keep it for team fights. You need to be setting up for Hope to follow on top of your Call of the Forge. Got bullet time, Scout to allow free DPS as he can play a little bit more aggressive during that CC window. So Audi can't stop it, but I think definitely you want to have Audi rely on that CC more for the team fights.
Maybe you don't need the ult as well, just Q and E.
True.
And you stop Longxing. Also want to note that he's just built himself a stopwatch as well. So we are getting towards this point where that one fight will snowball with the massive death timers that there will be now.
Well, we got several of these stopwatches. You've got one on Audi, you've got one on Misfortune for Hope, you've got one that's also sitting on Xiao, who is working towards that Rabadon's death cap. So this is now where I want to see EDG fight sooner rather than later, because that Rabadon's death cap will be a big power spike for Xiao.
Also note that I think Scout wants the Haunting Guys to turn into the Leandri's Torment at this point. Looks like Scout is a bit of a savant here in the first game as EDG begin it. Infernal Soul means this is going to go down quick if RNG don't contest.
Scout could be using this time to DPS, but what they're trying to do is draw RNG into these tight corridors once again. See, though, they are a little bit hesitant to try and make these plays happen. They want all of their tanks here to try and set up correctly, but Audi's been forced down to the bottom lane to deal with Longxing.
Lunching has actually just reset and walked behind mid. Audi's joining as well. That unsealed spellbook right now holding on to the flash and teleport. EDG back towards the Baron.
Started this one up. They will just remove the big purple worm off the map so quickly with Scout. Now though, starting to turn, see if they can get onto RNG.
Lunching close behind them. Audi towards the pit as well. Hope goes back towards the Baron. It's at half health. They're resuming it. Shalambao over the wall. Looking for a steal like EDG did to them at 2k. Shalambao in there as well. Uses the Lambs despite stops the Baron, but will his health survive long enough? In there, the Baron is secured by Xiaohu. RNG get it right back. As now Lungxing with the hope of the fight here into the backline. The Vladimir is spitting out blood, but Lungxing now has to leave. Hope going golden as Audi jumps on in as well. This could be disastrous for EDG because RNG is so healthy. Scout sends it back, flashes away. Xiaohu with the scout of the week goes golden just in time, but RNG have already left him. Now they have to get the heck out of dodge. Hope with the Q, the slow. Ming has to flash as well. And these fights are messy as Lungxing tries to survive. I think, is he out? Yes, he is. But Betty is not. RNG get the Baron steal at the cost of 3 deaths.
But the Outer Dragon is about to spawn, so with Baron gone, it doesn't matter. They've taken the team fight, they've taken the victory, and EDG can look to take this Outer Dragon.
That was a RNG team fight that we're going to have to go back and digress because now free Elder, there's no way RNG get this. And EDG with the next fight, that execution bonus.
That team fight was incredibly messy, but it was a lot of outplays going back and forth. So this is where we'll need to take a little bit slower coming into this, but definitely this was EDG trying to rip that title of the best team fighters in the LPL away from RNG. So Xiaolongbao goes into the pit, the ultimate to keep the Baron alive, and Xiaohu somehow manages to steal it away with the Scatter of the Week. And now we've got this front-to-back team fight set up for EDG. But as Lungxing goes in aggressively, Hope goes golden to keep himself alive, and Yuumi can bring in a bunch of the heals, so that damage won't stick. And this is where the outplays start to happen. Keep your eyes on Hope versus Xiaohu. Hope moves across, they start to focus onto Xiaohu with Scout's pushback, but the flash away from the Scatter of the Week keeps Hope healthy, and he's the one that RNG are afraid of now. With that speed up coming through from the Yuumi, they can chase down multiple members here, and EDG will win out what was a very, very messy team.
I mean, the Infernal Soul as well, you can see, is doing quite a lot here for Hope. The guy that's got full items now. Hope has his full item build with the Molten Edge, and now with that Infernal versus the Baron. The Elder versus the Baron, rather. They're going to start pushing in, and EDG is a 5-man unit. No, they have the advantage.
And look how quickly they take out the Baron creeps. They don't care. You've got a massive Azir now with the 3 items completed, and you've got this, as you said, full item Misfortune. EDG don't care about this Baron because they can clear waves so effectively.
But it's still only a 2k gold lead. This one's been close, and EDG just want that final fight.
The reason observers were showing you that is there's a ward behind EDG right now. Lungxing has his teleport available, and this might need to be the call if they want to force EDG out of the base.
But he's spotted out right now. He's sitting underneath the turret. EDG are pushing forward. With the Elder, they want to try and end this one. Call the Forge God going to be used to change corruption, but that ultimate from Audi was great as the bullet time is interrupted by Lungxing. He jumps in the middle of fight, but he's exhausted and he's dead. The attempt from EDG, or rather RNG, was there, but now with the Nexus turret focus, EDG is sticking around.
And they can look to finish this now. You've got Lungxing down, multiple health bars are low. EDG still have the Elder buff.
Shalambao jumping in, unleash power onto Junja. He gets low, but meanwhile Scout is hitting away. The Nexus exposed. The shuffle back from Scout. And you know what? Now it is about the mid laner of EDG, as Hope does the same. A Game 1 win in bloody style.
What a game to kick off these series.